Hog Island, Virginia, is one of the last wild places along the crowded Atlantic coast. Windswept and out of reach for most people, this place, owned and protected by the Nature Conservancy, is a sanctuary for hundreds of bird species. But on Hog Island, there's one animal that's clearly out of place. Wild cattle spook the birds and trample their nests. And for these bulls in nature's china shop, the solution takes us back to the Old West. Sending a team of cowboys to do a conservationist job may seem a bit whimsical, especially since the first step involves transporting 7 men, 14 horses, and 24 Catahoula leopard dogs across 12 miles of open water. For these North Carolina cowcatchers, this is a powerful dose of culture shock.
This is my first time on the water. I live on Carr Lake, but never have spent any time on the water.
You know, some folks water ski. This is our hobby.
John Hall, of the Nature Conservancy and director of the Virginia Coast Reserve, orchestrated this collaboration of cowboys and local residents.
What now seems to be an empty stretch of beach will be the nesting ground for thousands and thousands of shorebirds. If the birds are disturbed enough, they'll simply abandon the area, and you won't have any reproduction of that particular species at all. The Virginia Coast Reserve is one of the last places up and down the Atlantic coast that these birds have to nest. That's why we've got to get the cows off.
We're going to take and go and cover this block on the left-hand side of the duck pond.
Yeah.
If y'all will go beyond the catch pen before you ever start and work down the right-hand side in between the catch pen and the marshland and the duck pond going south.
Although cattle may be fine on the open range, they rut the dunes out here. They eat the grasses that stabilize the shifting sands, and their clumsy wanderings on the beach threaten fragile colonies of nesting birds. Hog Island's particular problem is a growing herd of wild cows, descendants of a handful that originally belonged to the people who lived on the island half a century ago. It's almost impossible to catch cattle while they wander concealed and solitary in dense thickets of wax myrtle. But once the dogs and cowboys drive them out to the beaches, the chase is on.
There you go.
Cow savvy and cow catching run hand in hand.
Professional stockman and cow catcher E.B. Harris has a special respect for Hog Island's cows, born out of 25 years' experience.
It's treacherous with these type cattle because all of them are hostile. You've got to know, have in a half a second make a decision which way to go, how much timing, and a cow like this, a bull like over here with a set of horns, he could gut a horse in just a matter of seconds.
Cowboys and conservationists join together here to respond to a real threat to the island's wildlife and the entire local ecosystem. Anchored to Hog Island is a great network of salt marshes. Meandering creeks flush the area twice a day, sweeping tons of nutrients through the shallow bays and into the food chain. The marsh, in turn, depends on Hog Island to absorb the ocean's power and might. For thousands of years, the island rolled and shifted as waves tore away at the beach, building dunes and slashing inlets. Because of this constant evolution, it is also a process that can play havoc with whatever man vainly builds. Back in the 30s, 400 people lived here in a close-knit community called Broadwater. They fished, hunted, raised big families, and former residents say it was paradise. Till the ocean sucked the sand from beneath their houses and the water crept in to cover the town. When the people moved to the mainland, the cows were abandoned to multiply, grow wild, and ornery. And weekend cowboys would travel anywhere, anytime, to catch a wild cow.
I lived 2.5 hours away from him, and I used to go all the way. He'd call me, and I'd go all the way down there to catch a baby calf. I mean, I couldn't, and wouldn't sleep the night before. I was so excited. And Hav drove all the way 100 miles to his house and rode all day and not even find a cow, and ride all the way home.
I'm hoping it's another 20 head. You know, it's just hard to estimate.
After today, they'll all return to their day-to-day jobs as truckers, farmers, and auctioneers. Sweat and saddle sores are hard for most of us to appreciate. These men live for it.
The cowboy is a free spirit. While he's out there with his horse, his dogs, and the cattle, he is in control freely and has nobody to look at but himself. He's his own judge, and he makes his own decision. He has a lot of peace of mind. It's just a different kind of life. It's hard to put in words. It's in his blood.
As the roundup's final hours approach, naturalist John Hall and his volunteers join the cowboys for one last sweep of the island.
Trying to guess what the cows are going to do is impossible. We haven't seen any of the cows do the same thing twice out here. And we start out with a plan A, plan B. We're down to Z6 or something. The horses are going to be hidden in this area and back in the road. So hopefully the cows will meander out on the beach, and when they're far enough out, then the cowboys will come down on them and get between the bushes and the cows, and then they won't have any trouble with them once they have them out in the open. And it's important that we make noise all the time, because the cows aren't scared of us. As soon as he sees that you're making that noise, he'll just turn around and walk right by you. But as long as he hears the noise, he doesn't know what it is, he'll keep working away from us.
What about the beaters? Are they involved in coming on the other side?
Yeah, I think they're about a half mile behind you.
Are they going to keep on moving to the south end, over? Okay, they'll be on down.
Listen, we went all over the north, up and down both sides, and we're going to head south now. All we can see is tracks and broken bushes. 10-4 heading that way.
At day's end, what was once a collection of scruffy cattle is destined for the stockyard. Although a few lucky ones will live out their days in a North Carolina herd.
There's no job that I've ever heard of, seen anywhere in the world, and I'd rather be right here. You just couldn't put me anywhere else. I don't believe. I really don't. It's not a place in the world. I'd rather be, you couldn't carry me to the moon. I wouldn't trade it for any place in the universe. This is heaven here on earth, catching cattle.
Hog Island and the other barrier islands that make up the Virginia Coast Reserve have the real spirit and character of a wild place. Protecting these habitats is the most important thing we can do.
So for the moment, the birds of Hog Island are safe. Migrating conservationists and portable cowboys all came together here with an unusual solution to a special problem, one we can all live with, especially the birds.